Yeah, 100%. You want to get in, as much as you can with the quarterback as a receiver. They say, timing and all that, but it's more so just about trust. You want to be around a guy that you could trust. He's a young quarterback. I believe in him. I think he's going to have a lot of success in this league. Breathing confidence in him is very important when they're young, and just talking through a lot of the stuff. So, everybody kind of jumps the gun and say, "What about this? What about this?" It's day one. Take it day by day. On day 9, I might have a more gauge for y'all, more information for y'all, but it's early.
Big trust from Stefon Diggs. Good morning and welcome into Boston's End of the Chat. It is Thursday, July 24th. Welcome into the Salem 5 studios. George Balekji here with my man Travis Thomas. You just heard from the Patriots wide receiver 1. Stefon Diggs right there, full participant in day 1 of training camp. We'll get into all that. You'll hear from Mike Vrabel, Drake Maye, Milton Williams later on in the show. Yeah. We got Nat Gordon of Play Tessie joining us to talk some trade deadlines. Yeah. We have the latest on Marcelo Mayer as well, and we'll get into plenty of Patriots training camp. Trav, good morning, my man. What you taking notes of there?
Copious notes.
I don't like this.
It's interesting. I would like for us all here involved, we're all family, clip that Stefon Diggs soundbite that we opened the show with and just table it so we can come back to it later in the season.
Okay.
The first losing streak or the first Drake Maye can't get me the ball because our offensive line can't.
Here we go.
I just want to play that soundbite again because he talked about encouragement and trust. And Patience, developing the young quarterback. It's so important in year 2. Okay. I need that energy all year, Stefon, because there are growing pains with a young quarterback and a young offensive line that's trying to figure it out. I just need that sound bite that we just played for later on down the line because I want to revisit that. I want to remind him of what he said.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're getting ahead of it a little bit. You just want to.
I mean, George, are we going to act like we haven't seen this guy go off on established quarterbacks in this league? Maybe a cyborg named Josh Allen?
Yeah. Established?
Yeah. Is he is he from planet Krypton?
I think so.
Big, strong, good-looking, rocket launcher arm.
Reminds me of Drake Maye.
Yeah, me too. And guess what? Stefon Diggs cussed him out. So I'm just saying.
Look, encouraging to hear that from him, though. He also talked about like a step-by-step process, too.
Yeah.
I think there is something where you bring in a vet and a guy. He was a full participant in practice. Only drill I did not see him participate in yesterday when I was down there at training camp was like a square-up, open field tackling type drill.
Oh, yeah.
More for a defensive player than for the offense. A little more lateral movement. It's like, Steph, don't push it. You're good on this. Blocking drills, ball protection drills. Okay. 11 on 11, 7 on 7s. First completion of training camp this year.
Right.
Drake Maye to Stefon Diggs.
Great.
For him to be out there with the guys is big. For him to build the chemistry with Drake Maye is even more significant.
Sure.
Because you could be back. Say if he delayed it, and he wasn't a full participant until week 4. That's when the chemistry starts. Yeah. Right? And then he wouldn't, and maybe that's when he's going to be 100%.
Sure.
Full participant now, putting in the work. We'll see what the rep count looks like as the training camp goes on. Builds a chemistry with Drake Maye. I still understand the apprehension, right? Because when he talks about trust, do you trust that Stefon Diggs will be a professional off the field?
Fair.
That man loves the cameras.
Fair question.
He loves the cameras.
Yeah.
There's a reason he let the cameras still roll on him be posted with the alleged Tusi on the Love Boat.
Alleged. On the Love. I love that we've just deemed this the Love Boat, by the way. Also, let's throw him to the side in terms of, because now we're shifting to a leadership conversation.
Yeah.
Stefon Diggs, I mean, he already proved it with the Love Boat to both of our points. But I don't think you're paying him like a leader. He's obviously your wide receiver 1 when you look at that wide receiver room. But he's not really your leader. Your leader is your head coach. Your leader is your second-year quarterback in Drake Maye. Those are the guys, and the other veterans on this team, but those are the guys who really need to lead this team. That's what we need from Stefon is production and the things he just talked about. Patience, understanding.
He needs to lead that room, though. That's a very young
wide receiver room?
Yes.
Yeah, fine.
Kendrick Bourne's approaching 30, fine. He can be a leader. Pop Douglas is year 3.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams is a rookie. We'll see where Javon Baker, Jalen Polk fall in all of this, if they even make the team after training camp.
If they do.
Because that's a big part, too. Jalen Polk, not on the PUP, not on the NFI. Now he's coming off shoulder surgery this offseason, but was trained down on the lower practice field. Is that him not being in shape and passing the conditioning test ahead of training camp? Or is that him still returning from that shoulder injury? But even if he was limited with that, he would still be up with the team, being around the 11-on-11, 7-on-7 drills, being around those reps. There's no pads on. There's non-contact. He could work out on a video he posts on social media. He should be able to work out in a non-contact individual drill with the wide receivers, right? So there's all of that working him back. You need him to be a leader in that room. You don't need him to be a leader for the offense or the team, but you need him to be a leader in that wide receiving room. Because that's a big part in all of this. I'm going to talk some offensive line with you. Will Campbell, left tackle. What we saw from starters, Cole Strange, Garrett Bradbury, Mike Onwenu, Morgan Moses. Now, there were the reports the offensive tackles looked bad. There's no pads. You can't really work as an offensive line with no pads.
I heard Morgan Moses was getting cooked.
Look, man, he's old. Like, he knows how many great reps he still has left in him. If he knows how to bring himself along through training camp in the summer when the pads aren't on and the football doesn't count. But he knows when to turn it on when the football does count. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I've been hard on him just because I saw him play in Washington and it wasn't great. But I will say this about him. It wasn't so much he was getting cooked in terms of blocking. He was offsides every play. Every play. Just every time you line up, he'll be offsides. So can we work on that? Let's drill that in Morgan Moses, and he'll be just fine.
I mean, that's a guy he's entering year 15 in this league.
Jeez, bro.
So, excuse me, I'm miscounting. Year 13.
That's a lot of miles. Any Efton Chisholm sightings?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Looks small.
He is small.
Yeah.
He can ball, though.
Apparently, like, I was talking to my guy Alex Barth, who was on with me on Rush yesterday.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, it's the same build as Danny Amendola. Like, man, he looks tiny, but... Again, he didn't stand out with no pads on, but he was getting second-team reps. He was getting reps with the Josh Dobbs.
All right.
I will say this, though. The big connection was Drake made a Kyle Williams against a Christian Gonzalez, contested catch along the sidelines. Now, no pads on. Christian Gonzalez, his strength is putting his hands on you, throwing off your timing and your route, and his athleticism recovers. That was one with, I don't know what the effort is. I don't know who that drill is more for the defense or the offense. Again, this is day one. But what was big was Drake May, after practice, saying, I went to Kyle Williams. Hey, sell it more on the go route before you break it. And he applied that right away. And he makes a good catch along the sidelines. Kendrick Bourne, fantastic contested catch down the field against a rookie in Craig Woodson. But it's good to see Kendrick Bourne. He still has that bounce in him. He still has that athleticism. That's a guy, again, flying under the radar who could have a very positive impact on this offense.
Absolutely. But he's under the radar for a reason. No one ever questioned if he can play. I mean, we've been waiting for him.
It's a matter if he's available.
Yes, he's injury prone. At this point, you have to call it what it is. If he can stay healthy. But we've been saying that a while with him. And if he can stay healthy, he'll be fine.
And he could be a leader. So here's head coach Mike Vrabel talk about the leadership on the team.
Well, I mean, I think that I hope player and coach can be an extension of the message that I have created and try to, get that across in their own words and stay consistent to it. That's why we don't have a ton of stuff that we try to talk about. We try to stay very consistent and allow that to kind of branch off and don't tell them what to say, but allow them to have some parameters and things that we're working for. So we just hope that everybody carries that message over here as they work to lead their unit or another position.
See, and that's the thing. Maybe lead another position or their unit. They're the guys that lead in the offensive room. They're the guys that lead in their position rooms. And that's fine. You need leaders at every step.
Yeah, you do.
There's different levels to it. But to your point, Mike Vrabel, that's a leader.
That's a guy.
Drake May, that's a leader. Will Campbell, that's a leader. Robert Spillane on defense, that's a leader. That's something that jumped out, too. We could talk about Efton Chisholm being smaller. Harold Landry, I'm like, that's an edge rusher, but that's a modern-day edge rusher. Smaller, quicker. We're seeing this defense get faster. Robert Spillane, Jack Gibbons, smaller linebackers, but faster. Carlton Davis, same height as Christian Gonzalez, a little more slim. Now, Gonzo fills out his frame, and that puts in comparison. Again, they're getting faster on defense, which is more modern with this NFL. They're getting modern all around with their game.
I mean, think about the big hog mollies up front, though, right? Like, you always talk about the schematics of this stuff. When you have those big boys up front that you do on this defensive line, of course you can surround them with speed behind them or beside them. Because they're eating up all the space. They're wreaking all the havoc in there. So that's where you can get guys flying around. I just know this. Watching this team last year, I mean, it was so stressful. For a multitude of reasons, offensive line being a big one. But even producing or manufacturing pass rush, it was non-existent. So if you can get some pass rush this season, all these guys who are flying around are going to be able to eat. That's the key. I know they're smaller and faster in modern day and all that, but there are still big humans up front that are going to cause problems and allow these guys to fly around.
Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, massive.
That's
massive
a lot
humans.
of beef, though.
And that's who you'd have next to a Harold Landry. Now, here's Drake Maye. He was talking about earning the right to be a leader, not just being a leader, but earning the right to be a leader. Check it out.
Yeah, I think so. I think, I'm trying to be. I think that's something you got to earn. I think it's something I come in there every day, work hard, play good in practice. I think that's a big part. Take practice seriously. I think the practice translates to the games. It's hard to get, this simulation. It's not basketball. You can't go get shots, open three-pointers. There's nothing like being in the mix of it with a lot of bullets going. So try to earn, kind of earn my stripes in practice, and then from there just try to go on and hopefully win some games, and I think that'll help.
That's Drake Maye, man. That's the guy that's going to step up and be the leader. You expect that from him. You hear him vocally on the practice field, calling out, communicating with his offense more, calling more shots. He's not just stepping into that role. He's embracing and thriving in the role of being a leader so far, early on to training camp, but really embracing that.
I don't know if they'll have the team success that Jaden Daniels did, but I do think we're in for a Jaden Daniels-like season from Drake Maye this season.
And, hey, there's the offensive play caller. Yeah. There's the better offensive line.
Everything's there for that to
There's
work.
the head coach.
Yes.
Like a Dan Quinn, players coach, Mike Vrabel, and I think Mike Vrabel's a better head coach than Dan Quinn.
I do, too.
But there is something where you're getting someone that's modern.
Yes.
Knows how to lead.
Yes.
And they're getting modern with their front office approach and everything as well.
That's right.
There's good additions through this offseason. There's still a lot out there. Now, you wouldn't love to hear this, but like Drake Maye was checked down heavy.
I'm okay with that.
But it's a first day training camp, and it's an extension of spring training when it gets to that point.
Sure.
And that's what he was. He had a good down the field connection with Kyle Williams. He had another throw down the field that should have been intercepted, but Jabril Peppers couldn't finish the play. Looked more of like a miscommunication between him and Pop, where Pop would be. And he had another one that would be an interception. Maybe those talks will be out there, but it's day one of training camp. You have to temper your expectations. When the pads come on, that's when stuff will get fun.
Yeah.
When the Commanders come to town talking about Jaden Daniels,
right.
That's in August.
Yeah.
That's when it'll really get fun.
I think that's well said. I also think Josh McDaniels may protect this kid against himself in some ways. What I mean by that is we saw some gunslinger here in Drake Maye. I mean, we knew coming in, strong arm, whatever. Look, Josh McDaniels may come out very check down, Charlie, early in the season especially. Offensive lines questions, outside of Stefon Diggs, for weapons, a ton of questions. Maybe he comes in and he says, Drake, to start this season, we're going to be kind of conservative with you as the season goes on. We can open up the playbook. Maybe a Kyle Williams or somebody sort of establishes himself as another weapon for you. We can open up the playbook, take more shots. I would not be surprised with that. Give the offensive line more time for cohesion. I could see early in the season, Drake Maye almost, you kind of have the governor chip on the kid, and then as the season goes on, you open up the playbook and we see more splash and flash from Drake Maye. I wouldn't be shocked at that. You're almost protecting him against himself, throwing picks, running, taking unnecessary hits. I could see that coming, and that would be a Josh McDaniels wisdom call.
And think about it. I mean, the best way for him to learn this playbook, pick up this offense, is in real time against real offenses.
Yes.
In real games.
In real
real
games.
Defenses, I mean to say. So that's where it's going to be. And it'll be the same thing. Drake Maye from week 1 to week 4. Compared to week 5 to week 10.
Yes.
And then the finish off of that season, the last 6, 7 games.
Right.
That's when you want to see those jumps. Same way we saw him grow throughout his rookie season. It'll be the same thing with his sophomore season in the NFL as well.
Well, that was different. He was surviving his rookie season. I mean, literally, like he was running for his life out there half the time. I think this would be more structured, is what we're talking about. Almost like a racehorse, right? You run them, but you want them to peak on race day.
Yeah. The same way I like it, we did it at the end of last season. Remember you challenged me. You go, when it comes to the blame pie for Gerard Mayo in this season, who do you put on? Right now, I want you to put together a success pie, right?
Oh.
Now, who has so much responsibility for the success of the Patriots? There is Robert Kraft, Mike Vrabel, Drake Maye, Josh McDaniels. You could throw in a Stefon Diggs. You could throw in the offensive line. You could throw in the defense. Let's focus in on a Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel. How much success do they get of that success pie?
I mean, they're most of the pie because that's how the league dictates it.
Yeah.
Head coach and quarterback, you get that combo right, you're okay. So they're going to get majority of the pie regardless. Now, the smaller pieces, they fit into how successful Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel are. That's where a McDaniels, an offensive line, Robert Kraft's already done his part. He made a backroom deal with Gerard Mayo that none of us loved, but he honored it. And then he realized, I made a mistake, and he went and got the right guy.
Yeah.
He's out of the pie. You're good. You've done a great job. You wrote the checks. I still think you should go get Terry McLaurin and pay him, but that's another topic for another chat, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Kraft out of this. But I think McDaniels, offensive line, weapons, Diggs, and likewise, those are smaller pieces in this analogy, but it's got to be all on Drake, May, and Vrabel. That's just how the NFL's set up for everyone's pie, George.
I would give Drake May 25% of this pie, him alone. I would give the defense as a whole another 25%. So I'm putting that much on one player.
Wow.
When it comes to Mike Vrabel, that's a guy, like that's 30% on him. Then there's Josh McDaniels, 10%. How do you bring Drake May along?
Yes.
And then you leave the rest to fill it in. Now, if Stefon Diggs has a good year, he can elevate this offense a lot.
What's good?
I'm saying that we were talking about a guy that could have you around 75 to 80 catches, right? Have you right around 700, 800 yards. I don't know if he gets that 1,000-yard threshold.
I need more. I need 1,000 from him.
It's getting in the end zone, too, though, which would be important.
Yes.
He needs to have like 6 to 8 receiving touchdowns.
5 to 6.
That elevates the whole offense, and it opens things up. If he's doing well and Kyle Williams pans out, that opens up Pop Douglas. It opens up Kendrick Bourne. It opens up the run game, right?
Yeah.
For the wide receivers to do well, who has to be able to execute in this offense? It's Drake May.
Drake May. But the offensive line makes everything go.
Right? And that's where I got to reassess my pie. I love asking the question without having the answer in my mind.
But it's true.
And this is something we're going to go through all season.
Yeah.
There's a blame pie and there's a success pie. How much credit do you give to people for a certain success?
Just goes back to my Josh McDaniels take. Like, I think he's got to mastermind this. Your offensive line stinks. Drake May has to get rid of the ball faster. And that means you're not going to be able to take a lot of shots. That's what I'm telling you. I think we'll see probably a boring offense, but in a weird way, I think that's what you have to see to have success here. It's going to be all on the defense to win games. It is.
I don't think it's going to be boring. Maybe like on the surface, but I think it's going to be complex. And I think it's definitely going to be creative.
Yes.
But it's not going to be all the way. Like, we're not going to see Ben Johnson, fake falling, flea flickers, whatever.
No. You don't have that personnel.
But you are going to see Drake May's skill set tapped into much more than we've seen in the past. And I think that's important in this.
I would agree with that, but I do think personnel-wise, Ben Johnson was doing all that stuff because he had weapons galore, bro.
And who has a say on the personnel? Mike Vrabel.
This pie is just getting... All of a sudden, I'm hungry. I mean... I had breakfast before the show, but all this pie talk.
You might as well get pancakes after this.
Oh.
We'll take a quick break here on Boston's Enter the Chat. But coming out of the break, we'll be talking to some Marcelo Mayer, the latest on his wrist injury. But as always, you guys know, wherever you want to catch the latest in Boston sports, tune in right here to Boston's Enter the Chat every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. on NESN, 9 to 10 a.m. on NESN Nation. That's Boston has entered the chat live from 8 to 9 a.m. on NESN, 9 to 10 a.m. on NESN Nation every day of the week.
Stay down at second. The go-ahead run in extra innings, the 11th to be exact. 2-2. Swung on and ripped deep into left field. And is back at the track, at the wall. Goodbye! Homer for Carlos Narvaez. El Capitan puts the Red Sox ahead 9-7. Wow!
Carlos Narvaez, a hero last night, saving the weekend for the Red Sox. Still 6 games above 500, still in the wild card spot.
Yep.
From down 5-0 to Romy Gonzalez grand slam to Carlos Narvaez, putting him up 9-7. 9-8 final in 11 innings. Wins and losses with that game last night, though.
Yeah.
Marcelo Mayer did have to leave with a right wrist injury. We saw the clip, swung the bat, stepped out of the box. You saw him tending to it right away. And as he said after the game, he goes, I knew I couldn't do much, so I called it to pull himself out of the game at that point.
Yeah.
For this Red Sox team, I mean, we start with that they dropped 4 of their last 6 games, all out of the All-Star break. Still in the wild card spot against some of the best the National League has to offer. We've seen the ups, we've seen the fightbacks, the tough wins, but the lowest of lows with this team too. And in a way, that's where the frustration comes again. We know the talent, like we saw last night. A team that's willing to fight, we know there's still more for them to add, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a game of giveth and taketh away. And I think you did a good job of illustrating all that because, boy, those catcher interferences just go away when you do this in extra innings and you win a game for us. But then, on the other hand, the Marcelo Mayer, it's very concerning not only what happened to him, but there's a history here now of him getting banged up. And I like the versatility in the infield. I like he could play short, he could play third, he could play second. I told you although I'm a Bregman guy, looking at him at third, I was like, damn, I really like him at third. But all those positions I named, George, it's wear and tear, brother. So this is concerning now. This isn't going anywhere. He could always be banged up just because of the nature in which the Red Sox are going to ask him to play all these positions on the infield. All of them get wear and tear. The other thing that jumps out to me here is we talk about the trade deadline and adding and what this team's going to do to make a run. One thing you cannot take away from this team, they are fighters. They will scrap.
Yep.
There have been times during this season we have left the Red Sox dead to rights, and here we are still in a wild card hunt. So this team will show you they are scrappy, and that's what you need if George, you get into the postseason in a wide open American League.
Yeah.
Anyone watching the Tigers lately? Okay, so if you can get in those kind of teams that can fight, those are the kind of teams that go on deep runs. But can you get in? That's the question.
And a big part is, what will Marcelo Meyer's availability be?
Right.
Here he was after the game last night when asked about his injury. And look, body language doctor here, nothing else. You see the frustration and some of the, just being down from Marcelo. Check it out right here.
Not much. I still need to get with the medical staff, and we need to go over it and see what's good.
What are you feeling?
I just felt like a little tight grab in my wrist. When I took a swing my second at bat, I knew I really couldn't do anything after that, so just called it.
You obviously, had some wrist stuff happening in 22. Is this similar? Is this different?
Honestly, I don't know. That was such a long time ago. I don't even remember what wrist I hurt in 22. But yeah, I'm not really sure right now.
Will you get an MRI or any imaging?
I think so. I think I'll be getting an MRI soon.
How would you describe your level of concern on it?
I don't know right now. Obviously, I just iced it, so it feels with some pain, but hopefully it's not too serious and I can get back on the field soon.
Now, the wrist injury he had in 2022 was his right wrist. He also dealt with back issues that season. 2023 had a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
2024, he had a lower lumbar strain, his lower back strain. That took him out of the season after he was elevated to AAA.
Right.
Marcelo Meyer, the ceiling's high on this guy. His glove, his arm strength, his bat.
Yes.
The ceiling's so high. He can be a everyday starter.
Yes.
All-star caliber, shortstop, third baseman, second baseman, whatever you want, right?
Yep.
Gold glove caliber guy.
Yep.
But what comes with Marcelo Meyer and his ceiling and all of that also comes with the injury history that he's had going back 3 years.
Bro, this is why veteran players won't even answer questions like that. He's young and he's being transparent and he's being honest. But you're right. Watching that clip, the body language, he just knows. I think he knows he's going to be out for a minute. Now, deadline's here, okay? So you can go and acquire. And this team is deep. So I know people say, well, that's the outfield. But I do think there's some mix and matching you can do here in the interim. And I do believe this team will be buyers at the deadline. More on that later in the show. But in the end, this team can weather this storm however long he's out. But you need this kid, obviously moving forward for the future. But if you could get him back for this postseason push or subsequently if you make it, boy, wouldn't that be an addition as well.
This is someone that they need for their success moving forward.
Yes.
It's what he does for this defense.
In the present and the future.
Exactly. For the right now, that he's a good bat in the middle of the lineup. He can play second, which you have a gap at because Trevor Story's is short. When Alex Bregman needs a day off at third base, that's where he plays, and that's where the strain comes. Now, Abraham Toro plays third. Romy Gonzalez can play third.
Mix and match.
But now, do you want to be platooning at first and third?
No.
And again, you're in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
It changes a lot for what the strategy could be for the Red Sox come the trade deadline, and it changes a lot. And that short-term conversation, I'm with you, the long-term conversation.
Of course.
Marcelo Meyer playing baseball is great for the game of baseball, not just great for the Boston Red Sox.
That's right.
It's great for the game of baseball. This guy can be a future star, him and Roman Anthony together. Where you see players that are snake bitten, and hearing it from his voice there, never want to see anyone get injured. But someone where you hear there's that, it's not discomfort, it's, and I don't want to say it's discouragement, but again, it is a frustration of like an injury again. You hear it in his voice because that's a guy that has so much energy and brings fun to the game.
That's right.
You don't want to see that for a player like him.
No.
You don't want to see that for any player. It just sucks to see him be snake bitten in a way. And hey, fingers crossed, he's getting an MRI. Best news for Boston, that it comes back negative.
Oh, my God.
Because that would be a positive.
Yes.
And this conversation we're having today goes away tomorrow.
Yeah, you give him a couple days off, and he's right back at it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll take a break here on Boston has entered the chat. When we're back after the break, our guy Nat Gordon of Play Tessie joins us. We'll talk more with the deadline. We'll talk more with the Red Sox, more with Marcelo Meyer coming up after the break. Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. Trade deadline's approaching, Trav. A week from today, next Thursday, July 31st, is the MLB trade deadline. And the Red Sox, while they sit in that final wild card spot, are they buyers? Are they sellers?
Better not be.
Do they just stay pat? We're trying to figure it out. Let's bring him in, though. We got our guy, Nat Gordon, from the Play Tessie Podcast, now joining us on Boston has entered the chat. Nat, good morning, my man. Thanks for joining the show, brother.
How's it going? Thanks so much for having me. This is great.
We're excited to get into it. Hey, at least we're coming off the high of that extra innings win last night by Carlos Narvaez, a young, up-and-coming star the Red Sox have. Yep. But we also got to address Jeff Passan put out an ESPN report, quote, Boston is an organization that deeply values operating efficiently, and a trade market like this is the epitome of inefficient. When you hear that quote coming out now, Nat, who Jeff Passan, most plugged-in guy in all of baseball, but also with the Red Sox with the needs, a top-line starting pitcher, they need another bat, they need a first baseman, they need a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
What do you think the Red Sox are doing when it comes to the trade deadline?
Well, when I hear a quote like that, I mean, it is the truth. They do value operating efficiently. They have for years at this point. But the deadline, if you want anything, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. And that's something I've seen this team do since the offseason. It's not comfortable to sign a guy like Alex Bregman for $40 million a year. It's not comfortable to trade multiple top 100 prospects and more to get a Garrett Crochet. And it's certainly not comfortable to trade Rafael Devers. So, yes, it's true. They are going to have to get uncomfortable and operate inefficiently if they want to get what they need at this deadline. But when you see, for every quote like that one that you see from Jeff Passan, where it's, I don't know, like they operate really efficiently and it's not really their deal, you see another, like Buster Olney on the broadcast last night saying, execs around the league expect this team to do something big. Now, I don't know what realistic is out there that they can do that's big. I think their heads are in the right places. They think they're going to try. But I think there's just a lot that we don't know and a lot that's not coming out about what this team is doing right now.
I want to ask you about last night. I mean, it felt like a movie watching that game. I was just confessing on this show how I didn't believe it all. And I've seen so many brain farts from this team late in games, situational baseball, that I just thought for sure they'd go to extras and lose this. Sure enough, it wasn't that at all. This team fights. They are scrappy. No one can take that away from them. I just want your takeaways from last night. That was a big win, I thought.
Oh, a huge win. I mean, the narrative surrounding this team right now and this organization for years, and it's not wrong, but it's been the second half Sox. You know, they make you believe in the first half and they go into the All-Star break. They're red hot. And then the second half comes and they fall off the wagon. And it's been that way for years. I mean, under 500 every year since 19 after the All-Star break, except for 2021. So, yeah, that's been the story with this team. And to start a road trip 1-5, or to finish a road trip 1-5 would have been tough. You go home, you're playing the Dodgers after that. That's a tough hill to climb. But you start down 5-0, you take advantage of a guy who loses his command, and Jesus Luzardo walked in 2 runs, and Romy Gonzalez with the huge grand slam gets you right back in the game. And even though you lost the series, it's almost like you have new life breathed into you because, hey, you go 2-4 against the Cubs and the Phillies. Like there is no shame in going 2-4 against a couple of first place teams. Now you just got to take care of business against the Dodgers. It's not going to be easy, but it's a team that's not playing their best ball. You take 2 out of 3 there. Everyone talked about this gauntlet and how badly the Red Sox are playing. But if they take 2 out of 3, that's 4-5 in that 9-game stretch that everyone was so afraid of.
Yeah, and part of, we always talked about there was a second half collapse we've seen from the Sox. But those past teams, they didn't have a Garrett Crochet. They didn't have an Alex Bregman. They didn't have someone in a closer like an Aroldis Chapman. They didn't have someone flourishing like a Lucas Giolito. But then when we see them lose these games, like what Giolito has done in his first 2 starts since the All-Star break, since the whole team has returned. Look, that Rockies start against the Cubs, then he settled down and he finished out that game fine. but then we see him against the Phillies and it looked like batting practice. That's a part where we need to see this team add, right? And I get it. Hey, you come 2-4 out of this opening stretch of 6 games, that's fine. They're first-place teams. But this is a Red Sox team that's in the playoff hunt. And that, in a way, look, get to the postseason, but you want to see them win a series. And that's where we see this need that they still have to add. And I think that's where Red Sox fans want to see a sense of urgency from the team of, you need another pitcher.
Yeah.
In whatever role you want to say, they need another pitcher. And they need another bat.
Yes.
Because you can't just count on Romy Gonzalez grand slams night after night.
No, George, you're so right. Like, with this pitching staff, I think this team is better built to withstand a second half because I think they're deeper in the rotation and they're deeper in the bullpen. But to your point, if you make it through and you get to the postseason, you're going to want 4 guys that can start a postseason game for you. And I feel like you feel really good about Crochet starting a game for you. I think you feel good about Bayo and Giolito. I think after that is where it gets a little bit dicey. And ideally, you'd be able to get a starting pitcher that starts game 2 of a postseason series, a guy that follows up a Garrett Crochet game 1 win and is ready to put the nail in the coffin of whatever team you're facing in a potential first-round matchup. I would love to see them go after a Joe Ryan. I know they are trying to talk Joe Ryan. I don't know how easy those conversations are going to be with the sky-high asking price of controllable starting pitching at the deadline, which I could talk all day about how crazy it is that teams ask for such unrealistic prices for these guys at the deadline. But Joe Ryan's a guy that they should go after. Mackenzie Gore is a guy that they should go after. They should be barking up the Reds trees for Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, the Royals for Chris Bubich. And if all fails and, a few days leading up to the deadline, they haven't really developed any serious conversations around those guys, dig your feet into the rentals. Merrill Kelly would be at the top of my list if they go after a rental.
Merrill Kelly, Dylan Cease, those guys, Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
I like the Merrill Kelly or Dylan Cease to lead that. Yeah. No, I like that you bring up the price. We know what the price was to trade for a Garrett Crochet. We've seen it work out so far. Mm-hmm. Joe Ryan, he's having a career best year. Credit to him, but this could be a one-off. What is the price that you understand? Because I don't fully know it, and I don't think the people watching or listening fully know it. What is that asking price for a trade for a guy like a Joe Ryan or a Mackenzie Gore, young pitcher, good, 2 years of arbitration left, which would help out the Red Sox as well?
Well, let's go back a year because Garrett Crochet was on the trade market with the White Sox last trade deadline. They were talking Crochet with teams, and in those conversations with the Red Sox, the names they were bringing up were Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. That was obviously going to be a non-starter. Those guys, they were not trading those guys, and they didn't trade those guys. You got to the offseason, the ask, for whatever reason, it comes down. I really can't explain this. I ask around, and I cannot get a real explanation as to why the price is so much higher for these controllable starters at the deadline when teams should be desperate and be willing to pay. But these teams hold these guys to these prices that just no one is going to meet. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what the Twins and the Nationals would be asking for those guys, but surely I'm sure they're going to ask about the big 3. I'm sure they're going to ask about maybe a Wilyer Abreu. It's guys that the Red Sox want to build around, not part with. It's like Chaim Bloom used to say, robbing Peter to pay Paul. You've got these surpluses and you've got guys that are blocked, and you want to deal from those things to get what you need. You don't want to deal from your core. So it's going to be tough. That's why, it's in all likelihood they're going to get to the deadline, and as much as we want to see them acquire one of these controllable guys, it's easier said than done.
Sometimes when I agree with you guys, it scares me. And so because I agree with you so much here, I'm going to go devil's advocate and just go flip side of a coin so we can have the conversation. You're both talking about adding at the deadline. I think most of us feel that way. You guys even talked about how deep this postseason run could go. I think most of us feel that way and want to have that combo. But let's just go here. If this team stands pat yet again at the deadline, this team currently constructed, will this team make the postseason? Is a question I ask you, my friend.
I think this is a postseason team today as it stands right now. That's what I think. I think they've got a deep enough pitching staff, both in the rotation and the bullpen, to withstand it. I think moves. It's going to be borderline. I won't lie to you. Like this is where they are right now. They're tied for the second and third wild card spot, a game and a half ahead of multiple teams. So yeah, you're going to have to play good baseball. The biggest worry I would have with standing pat is the message it would send to the clubhouse, which we've seen in the past, even with a trade in trading Christian Vazquez for Wilyer Abreu, which has worked wonders for the Red Sox. That team, or that trade, it killed the clubhouse. Like, Christian Vazquez is Christian Vazquez, but that trade killed them, and they just never truly recovered. And other seasons, like in 2023, all they did was trade for Luis Urias, and that deadline killed the clubhouse too. So it's honestly more about that than needing the reinforcements, which they do need if they want any shot at making a real playoff run here. But I do think that this team is deep enough in every facet of the game to withstand a second half. I think they could use a high-end starting pitcher to elevate that staff, and I think they could use a middle-of-the-order bat that can play first base, add a little bit more pop to the middle of this lineup. I think people are underestimating how much of a need that is. Abraham Toro with a low 600s OPS in his last 30 games. You could use a first baseman and then maybe platoon Romy Gonzalez and Marcelo Meyer. That is if Meyer's healthy, which that was something that came out of last night's game too.
Yeah, I know George is going to ask you about that. I want to follow up on if standing pat and sending a message to the clubhouse. I've actually suggested on this very show, maybe the Red Sox are a little bit ahead of schedule because we know the future looks bright, and we talked about this young core. Do you think maybe that's a message that could be sent if you stand pat? Hey, we're almost a year ahead of schedule here, guys. Everyone stay patient. We like where we're headed in the future. I know players don't want to hear that now, obviously. But if this is a borderline postseason team, right, and you don't make any moves and you send the message, we're playing for the future, still trying to make the postseason right now, but we feel good about where we're at, is that a message that could be digested, you think? Or would that start some sort of revolt here?
I like to think it wouldn't start any sort of revolt. It's going to be a tough message to deliver. Clubhouses always want additions at the trade deadline, but it's going to be up to the leaders in that room, the Alex Bregmans, the Trevor Storys, the Garrett Crochets, the Aroldis Chapmans, those guys, to make sure that guys know that, hey, just because they didn't get us necessarily what we thought we deserved at the deadline doesn't mean that we can just mail this in. Like, we're gonna fight to prove that, hey, you should have invested in us. And Travis, I got to tell you, I think they're going to try to be aggressive here. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I don't think that's going to be a scenario here. I do think they're going to add. And if the ads are underwhelming, my guess is that it's just because the trade deadline as a whole this year feels like it's going to be pretty underwhelming. Not because other teams added big and the Red Sox, took a back seat to it. I think they're going to try to be aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, second part of that passing report, starting pitching behind Crochet stabilized to keep them in contention for a postseason without sacrificing prospect capital it would take to land someone like a Joe Ryan. You bring up first base. I think Josh Naylor, Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah.
We've seen the experiment, maybe a Taylor Ward with the Angels just to get that power right-hand bat, and you figure out between him and Roman Anthony left, but then you have that plethora of outfielders. You talk about just needing a bat in a lineup as well. Eugenio Suarez, because we are going to see the Yankees go all in, for what it's worth. We're going to see the Blue Jays make a push at the deadline. The end of their season, they do have the Astros coming up twice. They do have the Royals after the Dodgers. They will see the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Yankees, and the Tigers to end the season.
Oh, my.
Like, that could decide them getting in. So you talk about getting a first base bat. You talk about those acquisitions. Maybe that won't break the prospect bank. Who could you see them adding, Nat? Who could you see them adding?
You mentioned two names right off the bat there in Josh Naylor and Ryan O'Hearn, and I think those are the two guys to focus in on for first base. There's some other options out there that are controllable, like Tyler Soderstrom's name was surfaced by the Globe's Alex Spear recently. But to me, I think the rental market is right where the Red Sox need to be here. Josh Naylor is my favorite option here because I want a guy who can play first base every single day, and we don't need to worry about a platoon.
Amen.
Romy Gonzalez can platoon at second base. People forget, like, this guy is super versatile, can play multiple positions, and trust me, he will be getting his everyday at bats against left-handed pitching. Josh Naylor is a guy who, tried and true veteran, has produced offensively every year for as long as I can remember, and we all remember that moment in the postseason against Garrett Cole. He rocked him like the baby Like,
Yep.
that's the guy.
He said
We need
something
that
different
guy on
than
this
baby.
team.
He said there was a nice 4-letter word.
It's
You're
a
my
family show.
effing baby.
It's a family show.
Yeah. But that exactly. That's and not
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want. And that's not to say that Ryan O'Hearn wouldn't be a terrific fit, because he would be, and he'd be a big bat right in the middle of this lineup. Both of them would be. But something about picturing Josh Naylor in a Red Sox uniform for the rest of this year. It's like when they got Kyle Schwarber in 2021, who they should have never let go.
Yeah.
But I digress. When they got Kyle Schwarber, he came in and he changed the organization quick. That's something that a guy like Josh Naylor could do.
Yes. Well said. Hey, we got a minute left, but I can't let you go without asking about Marcelo Meyer's injury. Are you concerned? There's an injury history here. What are you hearing? 1 minute left. Give us a quick rundown on this.
Yeah, I am a little concerned. I mean, he had a brace on the wrist after the game, said he felt some pain, and it looked like he injured it on a swing, which, man, it makes me scared a little bit, just because you see these guys, they get those fractured hamate bones on these swings that it just looks like it's absolutely nothing. But if he fractured the hamate bone, that's a 6 to 8 week injury.
Right.
So not an easy return, come back very late in the year. You'd have to figure things out. That could change your trade deadline approach if it's a fractured hamate bone. Maybe they start barking up teams about second baseman, maybe Willie Castro from the Twins. I hope that's not the case, because I think Marcelo Meyer is a super important part of this team, both now and in the future. But yeah, a little bit concerned until told otherwise.
Yeah, that is a complete wrench in what could be the trade deadline. You know, wants, needs, acquisitions as well. He's Nat Gordon. Catch him on the Play Tessie podcast. Nat, appreciate you waking up, my man. Appreciate the insight. Thanks for coming on the chat, brother.
Fellas, thanks so much for having me. This is great.
We'll take another break here on Boston's End of the Chat. When we're back, we'll be talking some Patriots and hear more from Stefon Diggs as well. Welcome back in Boston is End of the Chat. All right, Trav, let's talk some more Patriots training camp.
Hood, hood.
Heads up here.
What?
We're going to be talking offensive line, my friend.
Oh,
your favorite thing in the world. Don't
Well, I
even...
asked you about Morgan Moses. Was he getting cooked? You said it's day one. They're not even in pads, bro. Now we're talking offensive line.
Because the big thing, we saw Will Campbell, Cole Strange, Garrett Bradbury, Mike Onwenu, Morgan Moses make up that first-team offensive line.
Right.
Then we saw some work at left guard from the rookie and Jared Wilson and the second-year player in Caden Wallace as well. Again, a right tackle that was drafted by Elliot Wolf to play left tackle and is now opening up camp, taking reps at left guard. And we did see Jared Wilson snap the ball to Drake Maye, take first-team reps as well.
Yeah.
That, again, one of the more slept-on conversations this entire offseason. It's Stefon Diggs and the wide receivers, I get it. It is this defensive line and Christian Barmore bouncing back. It's Drake Maye with Josh McDaniels. It's Mike Vrabel. What is he doing? It's Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar. But it's the interior of this offensive line. If they don't have that sorted out, Drake Maye's not going to make the jump that he should in year two. Travion Henderson, your guy, won't make the explosive plays he's expected to because he won't have room to work with.
Yeah.
That is a big question mark. There's no pads on yet. It's tough to fully evaluate it. Where I thought a lot of eyes would be on Will Campbell, a lot more eyes should be on this interior offensive line as well.
You're not wrong. I'm just so frustrated. I'm sorry I'm sitting over here huffing and puffing.
No, it's fine. Go
Honest
ahead.
to God, we've already seen this movie. We watched what happens with the mix and match on the offensive line for the last 2 damn years around here, and it sucks. So it's just, honestly, I'm losing my shack. You know why? Between the Patriots offensive line mix and match, first base mix and match for the Red Sox. I mean, what is this, KFC? Is this a chicken box? What's next, original or crispy? Can we just get some consistency? I know it takes time, but I'm hoping that by the end of camp, is this too much to ask? You tell me. By the end of camp, can we have a solid, solidified offensive line?
We could.
Not saying it's the greatest, but I'm just saying, like, this is what we start with. This is our depth, okay? Like, I don't want to play the mix and match game all year again.
That's what they were doing last year.
Last 2 years.
Every time for the first offensive play of the game, it wasn't what's a play, how do they do, do they get a first down? Exactly. It was who are the 5 guys up front? Now, by the end of camp, they certainly can have that answer. And now what will look like from breaking camp to week 5, that could be different. But that needs to be an answer because you need consistent offensive line play. I'm not asking for elite. I'm not saying great. I'll take good.
Consistent.
Average.
Yeah.
They were the worst offensive line in the league last year.
Yeah.
You get average, that's 15th best in the NFL.
Sure.
That would be a massive win and a step forward for this offense.
We're looking for competency, right? Competent offensive line play.
Yes.
Because you can't ask Drake Maye to take a leap if he's running for his life again.
Yes.
You can't, to your point, you brought up Travion Henderson because I'm all about that life.
Yeah.
But it's Ramondre too. It's anyone. Whoever's running the ball.
You want both of those guys to do well.
Yes.
If Ramondre does well, Travion Henderson's doing well. If they're both doing well, Drake May is getting set up with the play action.
That's right.
And that all matters in how you build out this offense.
Yeah.
And for Drake May, when you have less than 2.5 seconds, you can't even make a read. People want to knock him for his late in-game decision-making, saying you didn't see much of IQ or high, football thinking in those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he had the worst offensive line and the worst wide receiver room in the league, and he had a first-time offensive play caller in Alex Van Pelt.
Sure.
Now he has the resources. You still need the structure in front of you.
Here's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
We said Drake May. We said the running game. Hey, look. Worst case scenario for all of us, we know, Stefon Diggs gets hurt, right? Second worst case scenario is he's healthy, he's not getting the ball, and we see the diva stuff.
Fair.
You're not going to get the rock, bro, if Drake May has no time. That's another part of this. We have to, we talk about the lack of weapons at wide receiver, but what if Stefon Diggs isn't getting the ball and he resorts back to the old school? Bro, he was in Josh Allen's face. That's Josh Allen. What do you think he's going to do with a second year? It's one of the reasons why I said don't sign him, if you remember.
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to do with a second-year dude who hasn't proven anything?
Yeah.
He's going to be all in Drake May's mug. And meanwhile, Drake May's like, it's not my fault. Why are you in my mug? The offensive line has the defense in my mug. And then everyone looks like John Cena. It's too much.
Where were you? I couldn't see you for those 10 seconds.
See me. That's what I'm saying. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
And a big person controlling all of this is Mike Vrabel. Here he is right here. Here's some more sound bites from Vrabel talking yesterday at training camp.
Well, if we can remember what the objectives of training camp were, which were, do you remember? No. I know. Just build a team. Remember, Mike? Earn a role. You remember the last one? Prepare to win. You guys are on fire today. We're off to a great start. So if we can do those things, there's a reason I try to do this. I don't claim to be the smartest person. So if I can just try to find some things that I think are important for the team and the individual, and then kind of coming back to the team. So if it looks like we build a team and there's some cohesion and guys are enjoying being around each other, are they competing? Are they taking care of each other? And then our guys starting to figure out, hey, this is going to be my role. I'm going to go try to dominate that, whatever that may be. And then ultimately, are we understanding these situations and can we try to win a football game? So that's what would be successful.
I like that. I don't claim to be the smartest guy in the room. That's it. He understands it. And he is the smartest guy in the room most of the time, by the way. But what he understands and what he lists out, does it help the team? Does it help the player? And does helping the player come back to the team? And that's a little by little, step by step, on how he can make an offensive line work, how he can make a second-year quarterback work, how he can make Stefon Diggs work in this setting too. That's a big thing where we talk about the make or break. We talk about Josh McDaniels with Drake May. We talk about the players. The big part and one of the biggest pieces of the pie to have success this season is Mike Vrabel. You have to put a ton of either credit or expectations on him. If they succeed, he gets a lot of credit. If they fall short, again, he should get a lot of blame. That comes with being the head coach, but this is a guy that you can hold up to that standard.
I know this is off topic. I want to get a beer so bad with Mike Vrabel. I really do. We see him around town. He goes to games. Saw him at the Celtics
Goes
game.
to the
couple
casino.
Beers, goes to the casino. Come to a Red Sox game. Come to Fenway. Braves, it's not the season yet. It's just training camp. This is the time.
Nope, it's a season. Training camp's a season.
I know, but he could catch a Red Sox.
He had the last 5 weeks to go.
Come on.
He had the last 5 weeks.
Well, Braves, maybe the offseason. Let's get some beers together.
You.
I love Braves. Second question. I know we're going to get to a question you asked a player. Did you ask the coach any questions yesterday? Because I've seen you in these settings. You're a pit bull.
Yeah.
Did you get a question off to Mike Vrabel?
I did ask him. It's acclimation period. There's no pads on.
Okay.
What do you get out of day one? And what was big, he's like efficiency, how quick we're moving, sense of urgency, communication, how the players are in the flow.
Okay.
The guys are in shape, dudes are locked in, buying into their team.
He didn't call you out, though. He answered because you asked a good question. He is calling out every media member, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Well, I like that. It was like the tongue-in-cheek. I couldn't hear what that question was. But he was like, what have I been saying as a message? And everyone's like, I don't remember.
Right.
Trust me, I don't remember everything he says. I zone out.
Yeah.
I zone out in some of his answers, too.
You're a professional.
I'm not a saint.
You're a professional.
But he gives it in a press conference where he gives honest answers.
He does.
He's giving you a back and forth, which you'll take.
Yes.
Breath of fresh air. And it was funny to open up. Someone like was busting his chops.
Yeah.
Hey, last 5 weeks question. He's like, hey, we're still in the honeymoon phase. He knows that too. He's like, eventually you're going to get sick of me and I'm going to get sick of you guys.
Sure.
Here's Stefon Diggs, though. When I asked him, okay, there's being a full participant, but then there's being Stefon Diggs. Do you feel like you are yourself?
I mean, I wake up every day myself, so I don't really think about it too much that way. More so, like, I'm just happy to play football, happy to be back around football. I love football, so I kind of engage that way, not so much about, I'm going to get back to being me, but I wake up me every day, so I walk like that.
It's kind of a non-answer. I wake up me every day. Yeah, it's fine. When I was asking about Stefon Diggs, I was asking about Stefon Diggs, 1,000-yard receiver.
We knew what you meant.
The wide
we knew
receiver
what you were asking.
one.
He knew what you were asking.
That was a smart answer by him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're him, you have to try to keep expectations to a minimum. I'm sure in his mind, as we saw with that answer, he has expectations for himself. Great. Hopefully you reach every goal, every marker you want, because that only helps the Patriots.
Yeah.
But it's a fair question. But he's dodging it because he wants to keep our expectations somewhere here. But I'm sure for himself, they are up there. And we all hope we see that version of him.
I'll say him being a full participant right now, it's big for chemistry with Drake May.
Yes.
And then that'll lead to big plays 4 or 5 weeks in. And real quick here, here's Milton Williams talking about the short offseason for him.
Everybody been asking me, did I go on vacation? I'm like, we ain't had no time for vacation for real. Like, we only had like 4 or 5 weeks. Man, when I got home, I probably took 3 days, just relax a little bit, but got right back to it. Conditioning, D-line work with the OG, Coach Pete. Pete down in Frisco, did a little boxing, and, just try to do anything I can to make sure I'm in shape and ready to go.
I'm going to do a Travis Thomas impersonation.
Yeah.
My man, you got $104 million, $51 million at signing. That could get you a vacation anywhere in the world, let alone for 5 weeks. But you know what that is, Trav? That's a leader. That's someone that's locked in.
Yeah.
Coming off winning a Super Bowl, reaching the mountaintop, getting paid, his dream. And he's like, no, I want to get in shape. He picked up boxing, too, so I know he's going to be your favorite player now.
Can you do the rest of the show like me?
This boss is out of the chat. We'll take a quick break, y'all. We'll be back on Nesson Nation. You know where to find us. That's it for us here on Nesson. Catch us on Nesson Nation Hour 2. You know where to find us, 8 to 9 a.m. every day, 9 to 10 a.m. on Nesson Nation. Patriots and Super Bowl. I'm Travis Thomas. We'll be right back on Nesson Nation. That's you right there, bro.